Welcome to the reminders of Ramadan. This is the episode number 5, and today we want to speak about Yaqin. Yaqin is certainty. Therefore, I remind you to seek certainty during this month of Ramadan. Certainty is at the very center of knowledge. Certainty is like a taqwa, a path, is something that you acquire, something of which there are degrees, something that you aspire to. More certainty, therefore, is the sign of advancing in the path. Advancing means that there is always something to look forward to. Again, as we said in the days before, to have absolute yaqeen, to have complete certainty, will mean exactly the same thing as abandoning your will. You will have to obey by necessity. The certainty is so clear that you cannot disobey. Your will has disappeared. You become like an angel. And so the yaqeen that man's pursue is something in the nature of understanding what is not Allah. I think it's best expressed by one poem of Abu Median al-Ghawth, when he says, everything without Allah, when you understand it, is nothing. Whether it is in synthesis or in detail. Do you see anything which is not his acts with capital, Allah's acts? End of the poem. Clearly, Abu Median is telling us that the knowledge of man is La ilaha illallah. The La ilaha is to be able to define clearly what is not Allah. And to become fully aware of what is not Allah is within our capabilities. We can't define what is not Allah. We cannot define what Allah is. But I can say this apple in front of me is not Allah. This wall or this monument of this figure is not Allah. And I'm saying the truth. Yet defining what is Allah is something else. This yaqeen, it complements perfectly the two recommendations I have given you in the last couple of days. The first one concerning the sincerity, siddiq, and the second one concerning taqwa. Sincerity brings us to the principle of action, that to know without action is not knowledge at all. So these two things are combined, and that is where the sincerity springs as the element of union between the knowledge that you have acquired and the actions that you commit. And from there, taqwa, which is the realization of our reality, the fact that we belong to Allah and He has power over everything. Seeking refuge in Him and having fear of Him becomes cognition. And this cognition becomes certainty. Certainty that allows you to act. Certainty that brings you into awareness of everything is around it, and therefore allows you to act. Just following Abu Median says in one of his writings that in order to acquire knowledge, there are 4 things that are necessary. Either one is suhud, which is to do without. Second is ilm. Third is tawakkul. And the fourth one is certainty, Yaqin. With these four requirements that Abu Median is mentioning, you can advance in the knowledge of Allah. So these four conditions are the ingredients in which you advance in the knowledge of Allah. Some refer to suhud, is to do without, is to do with how do you conduct your affairs, and so is tawakkul. Tawakkul is to be able to act in the understanding that you rely not upon your capacities, but you rely upon Allah's capacities. You abandon your attributes, and so that you can rely on His. Relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in itself wisdom. Ilm is knowledge in general that refers to knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and certainty is, which I mentioned earlier, is the gift that Allah gives you as a result of all this. So, what is to seek certainty during the month of Ramadan? How do we acquire? Well, essentially, the month itself is, and everything that we practice in it, is conducive to acquire more certainty. But to become aware of what the certainty is and how it manifests is important. Certainty is not an idea. Certainty is action. Certainty is how do you conduct, how it affects your way of life. And in understanding how it affects your way of life, then you have a way of assessing with certainty the reality that differs from the people who have less amount of certainty. The obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you have certainty, it becomes compelling. And not only compelling in terms of the obligation, but compelling in the sense of action. And that in itself brings an understanding about your life that is a continuous improvement in as much as you acquire more certainty. One of the teachers of Abu Median, also from Andalusia, he was called Ibn al-Arif. Ibn al-Arif writes something very interesting regarding guidance, regarding the one that it can transmit, that it can help people to advance. And he said, regarding the Sheikh, the murid only needs someone, a man who has ilm, he's an alim, and he's an amil. So he has knowledge, he has ilm, and he has amal. The knowledge and the practice being together. Abu Median, referring exactly to the same idea, he almost repeats exactly the same. The first duty of the murid, Abu Median says, is to accompany the Sheikh, who is an alim and he is an amil. He has wisdom and he has practice. Now, I mentioned this so that you understand this intimate relationship between the knowledge and the action, because it's critical in order to understand certainty. If it was only knowledge, certainty will be just to be a reminder, to have a good memory about the things that they are forbidden. And certainty will be that you have memorized well what you need to know. But when you incorporate the element of amal, it means that not only it is required from you to memorize the things, but you have to act upon it. To act upon the matter is what signifies knowledge. So the knowledge without action is not knowledge. And so, in other words, it is absolutely required to have action in order to acquire knowledge. Now that changes everything in relation to certainty, because now certainty is not an idea, it's not in your mind, and it becomes manifested in how do you live your life. That's where the certainty is. You are certain of something because you act upon it. Not you are certain of something because you memorize it. Is therefore the manifestation there. If you want to measure how is your certainty, then you have to look at how you live. Again, as I said yesterday, this is not on account of how do you interpret how you are doing, what you are doing, but this is on account of how Allah sees what you are doing. On account of what Allah demands of you, of us, and how we perform, well, this is where it becomes very difficult to hold and smile, because we fail, and understanding our failure and seeking refuge of Allah, this is where taqwa comes into place, and that's taqwa and sincerity and certainty, they come intimately together. In order to benefit to seek certainty so that you can act, is therefore not only just looking at what other people say, it's not looking at the books, but looking at life itself, and to recognize what is happening and how we can act upon it. If you understand how to act upon it, that it will change the meaning of your life around you. If in the times that we are living in, I'm here speaking to you now from Ankara, the people in the streets, they hold a currency which has 100% inflation. It's a piece of paper with the face of evil Ataturk that is smiling at every Turkish person while they are stealing from their pockets. They are being robbed in their faces by a system that continues to do it on a second to second, affects their way of life, affects the way the people in Turkey live, affects the housing, the taxations, the things that they can buy, the things they cannot buy, the things that they can do, the things they cannot do. It affects everything in their lives. It's completely haram. It's a system of extortion, of robbery, of theft. And yet, from the mosques, the imams don't speak about it. This is all hidden to them. When you are confronted with these matters, they say they don't know. They understand that riba is haram. And if you tell them, is riba haram? All 99% of the people, they say yes. But if you ask them, what have you done to eliminate the system? The answer is nothing. What have you done in the last month? Nothing. What have you done in the last year? What have you done in your entire life? Nothing. They cannot act. There is no clarity. They say riba is haram, but they don't understand it. That's lack of certainty. And equally, when it comes to what the solutions are, there are some people that have come to the conclusion that what we have to do is to Islamize capitalism. So if you Islamize capitalism, you abandon the problem. That is worse. These are the people who have totally abandoned the deen. These people have made riba halal, and they still command an authority in the times that we are living in. Where is the certainty here? And if you are seeking certainty, what are you supposed to do? If you seek certainty, you should seek from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the desire to see how to act, how to eliminate what is happening. And instead of standing on a permanent state of justification through darura. You stand firm on the fact that if Allah has made something forbidden, there must be a solution. Understanding the solution is your certainty. Acting upon it is your certainty. If you find yourself incapable, you don't see the way out, and you don't have the courage to act upon the matter, it means you have no certainty. It's therefore not an idea. It's something that you do. It's ilm and amal. The combination of the two will take you to the path of action, and the path of action is the path in which you will be measured and you'll be made accountable for. During this month of Ramadan, therefore, our seeking knowledge and seeking through the prayer, and through the night prayer in particular, seeking the knowledge derived from sincerity and from taqwa and from certainty, from Yaqin, is in order to make you capable of acting, to see the way out, to see it easy and to act upon it. If you ask Allah for this is the best month to do it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.